What happens when an undercover CEO walks into a small-town diner and sees something he'll never forget? The morning rush at Gracie's Grill had finally quieted, leaving the air thick with the scent of bacon grease and freshly brewed coffee. Maya Brooks, 29, tied her apron a little tighter, tucking a stray curl behind her ear as she refilled a pot of decaf. She was used to this rhythm. 6 years of cracked linoleum floors, half-wobbled stools, and regulars who tipped in loose change, and stories. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. Maya didn't know she was being watched. Ethan Ward, owner and CEO of the National Wardstone Hospitality Group, sat unnoticed in the farthest corner booth. He wore a faded denim jacket, wire-framed glasses, and the kind of expression that invited no questions. No one here would recognize him. That was the plan. This location, a rural franchise of one of his lesser-known diner brands, had recently caught his attention. Not because of complaints, but because of a handwritten letter from a customer. One that simply read, "If you want to see what kindness looks like when no one's watching, visit Gracie's Grill on a Thursday." So he came and waited. At exactly 3:10 p.m., the door creaked open. A small boy, no older than 9, entered silently, rainwater dripping from the edge of his hood. He walked with precision, shoulders tucked in, eyes lowered, like someone trying not to take up too much space. Maya noticed immediately. She wiped her hands on a towel and gave a subtle nod to the hostess. "I've got this one." She always did. The boy took his usual spot, booth by the jukebox, second from the door. Maya approached with the same warm energy she offered every week. "Hey, buddy," she said softly, guessing it's grilled cheese. "Day?" He nodded once. No smile, no sound, just that tiny gesture of confirmation. "Orange juice too," another nod. Ethan watched this unfold from across the room, curiosity sharpening in his eyes. The cook grumbled when Maya called in the order. "That mute kid again." Maya ignored him. While the sandwich toasted, she cut a slice of apple pie, fresh, out of the oven. Not part of the order. Not charged to the bill, but always placed gently on the plate next to the sandwich, week after week. The boy never requested it, but he always finished it last. This time, she added something else. Whipped cream piped in the shape of a smiley face. She didn't know why. Maybe just a hunch. Maybe because he never smiled and someone needed to. Ethan's fork paused mid-air as he watched the quiet exchange. She slid the plate in front of him like a gift. "Fresh pie, still warm," she said with a wink. The boy didn't look up, but his fingers hovered over the fork a little longer than usual before taking a bite. Ethan leaned back in his seat, eyebrows raised. This wasn't customer service. It was care. After clearing a table, Maya returned and gently placed a folded napkin beside his plate, clean, pressed into a triangle. She didn't speak. She just gave him a smile and walked away. When the boy finished his meal, he stacked his dishes neatly and placed a $10 bill beneath his empty glass. Then, like every Thursday before, he slipped out the door without a word. Only this time, he paused, turned halfway back, and looked at Maya. It wasn't long, not even 3 seconds. But in that moment, something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, connection. And then he was gone. Ethan sat frozen in his booth, his own coffee now cold. That moment hit harder than any quarterly report or customer survey ever had. He scribbled something on a napkin and tucked it into his jacket. This wasn't just about the boy. It was about her. And next week, he'd be back. Because the story wasn't finished. Ethan Ward wasn't the kind of man who lost sleep over much. As CEO of Wardstone Hospitality, he managed dozens of franchises, thousands of employees, and a billion-dollar reputation. But that week, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Maya Brooks, the waitress who gave away pie without a blink, who served a silent boy with more care than most CEOs gave their board. And that boy, the way he looked back, just once, before vanishing into the drizzle. It lingered in Ethan's mind like a song with no lyrics. So, 1 week later, same time, same corner booth, Ethan returned. This time, he ordered nothing. Just coffee, black, and he waited. The lunch crowd buzzed around him, truckers with grease under their nails, elderly couples who didn't need menus, and teenagers checking their phones between bites. But Maya wasn't there. The red-haired hostess, Abby, according to her name tag, saw him scanning the place. "If you're looking for Maya, she's on break. Should be back in 10. He nodded. "She's still working Thursdays. Every week. Never misses one. Except when—" She paused, her eyes drifting toward the kitchen. "Well, except once, last year. But that was different." Before he could ask, the door creaked again. Same time, same walk, same boy. Hood pulled low, shoes soaked at the edges, shoulders curled inward like he'd rather disappear. He didn't look up. Ethan's breath caught. He wasn't sure why. The boy took the same booth, by the jukebox, second from the door. Only this time there was no Maya to greet him. The boy looked, unsettled. He waited. 1 minute, then 2, then 5. He fidgeted, eyes darting. Not in impatience, but in discomfort. Ethan leaned forward. "Excuse me," he said, catching Abby's attention. "Can I ask you something?" She approached, wary. "Sure. That kid. He comes here often." Abby nodded, eyes softening. "Every Thursday for almost a year. Maya's the only one he talks to. Well, not talk, but you know. She understands. Him." "No parents?" She hesitated. "None we've seen. Drops cash, eats, leaves. Same booth, same order. Every time." "And no name?" "Nope. Maya calls him Thursday. Says it suits him." Ethan smiled faintly. "And you say she never misses a shift?" "Only once." Around Christmas last year, something about her brother being sick. Just then, Maya stepped through, the side door wiping her hands on her apron. The boy's head turned immediately. His posture shifted, less tense, more present. She saw him. Her whole face lit up, and in that moment, Ethan understood something that spreadsheets and reports had never taught him. Consistency builds trust, and trust is louder than words. Maya approached the boy, crouched slightly. "Grilled cheese and orange juice?" A nod. "And maybe a little pie today?" She tilted her head with a teasing grin. A pause. Then, another tiny nod. Ethan chuckled softly. Abby leaned in. "They have a thing. It's not on the menu, but she does it anyway." "She ever get in trouble for it?" Abby's lips pressed tight. "Manager doesn't love it. Says it's a loss. But customers adore her. And that kid, he wouldn't eat if she didn't." Ethan made a mental note. Maya returned to the counter, placing the order with smooth efficiency. But Ethan noticed her glance back at the boy. Twice. Protective. Watching. Not hovering. The food came quickly. As always, she slipped the warm slice of apple pie next to the sandwich, added the smiley face with whipped cream, and even tucked a tiny paper crane beside the plate this time. The boy saw it. He stared, then, almost imperceptibly, smiled. Ethan felt something crack open inside him, but then the door opened, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. A tall man stepped in, late 30s, lean, with an unshaven face in a leather jacket that looked a size too big. His eyes scanned the diner with the aggression of someone used to taking up space, used to being feared. He spotted the boy, paused, and then marched straight to the booth. The boy stiffened. Maya saw it too. She dropped the checkbook she was holding. The man reached the booth and stood there looming. "You been coming here without asking me, huh?" His voice was low, dangerous. The boy didn't answer. Maya was there in a flash. "Is there a problem?" she asked, voice firm but calm. "This your kid?" he shot back. No, but he's a regular. And this is a family diner. You're upsetting him, the man sneered. I'm his father. Ethan rose from his booth, walking closer. Maya's eyes met Ethan's just for a second, and he gave the tiniest nod. Support. Backup. He was there. The man turned slightly, noticing Ethan's approach. What's this, some kind of intervention? Ethan stayed calm. No, just a customer who's concerned. The man scoffed, then looked back at the boy. Get your stuff, we're leaving. The boy didn't move, Maya's hands clenched. He hasn't finished eating. I don't care. I do. Ethan's voice cut in. For the first time, the man really looked at him. Something flickered. Confusion. Maybe even fear. Ethan didn't look like much in his worn jacket and glasses, but his tone had weight. Authority cloaked in calm. You don't want to make a scene, Ethan said softly. Let the boy finish, then you can talk. The man's jaw tightened. Then, unexpectedly, he backed off. Fine, he muttered. I'll be outside. He stalked toward the door, slamming it behind him. Silence returned to the diner. The boy sat motionless, staring at the food. Appetite gone. Maya knelt beside him. It's okay. You're safe here. He looked at her, and this time, he spoke. Just one word. Dad. She blinked. Ethan, standing nearby, heard it too. The boy hadn't said a single word in months, but that one, it said everything. The silence that followed the boy's whispered word, Dad, was louder than any outburst. Maya stared at him, stunned. Her hands slowly unclenched, and a dozen questions swirled behind her eyes. But she didn't speak. She just offered, a small, gentle nod, like she understood that forcing words wouldn't help now. The boy didn't speak again. He just reached for the paper crane she had folded for him earlier and held it tightly, knuckles pale. Outside, through the window, the man, his father, paced near the curb, hands shoved deep into his pockets. Every few seconds, he glanced back at the diner door like he was deciding whether to barge in again or walk away forever. Ethan stayed nearby, watching, processing. This wasn't just about an unusual customer anymore. It wasn't even about Maya. It was about the boy and the truth behind that word. Dad. After a long few minutes, the boy slid out of the booth. He didn't touch his food. He walked slowly, crane in hand, toward the door. Maya followed a step behind, unwilling to let him go without being sure. At the threshold, the man met them. You done? He asked gruffly. The boy nodded once. Maya stepped in. You scared him. The man sighed, not with guilt, but annoyance. Yeah, well, he scares me too sometimes. Ain't normal the way he doesn't talk. He just did. The man looked surprised. What? He said something. One word. To me. That shook him. For a moment, he looked like someone trying to piece together a puzzle without all the edges. What did he say? Maya looked at the boy, giving him the chance to speak for himself. But the boy looked away, so she answered. He said, Dad. The man's face flickered. Guilt, maybe. Regret, or recognition of what he hadn't earned. Then came the twist neither of them saw coming. The man pulled something from his jacket pocket, a folded letter, creased, worn. He held it out, not to Maya, but to Ethan. You look like you got some authority, the man said. I don't know who you are, but you've been watching. Ethan didn't respond, just took the letter and opened it. The handwriting was scrawled, but legible. To whoever reads this, if you're the one who owns this place, or runs it or whatever, please don't punish the waitress. She's the only reason my kid eats some days. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't even want custody. His mum left, and I'm all he's got. But I can't keep him. Not like this. He's not safe with me. I don't want to hurt him. But I might. I yell. I drink. I sleep too long and forget he's in the house. You want a request? Here's mine. Help him. Find him a better life. Please. Danny. Ethan lowered the letter slowly, heart pounding. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. Danny, the man, looked away, suddenly ashamed. I didn't plan to come back, he muttered, but he kept showing up here. I thought maybe he was trying to tell me something. Ethan spoke softly. He was. Danny shook his head. I don't want him to end up like me, but I can't do this right. Not anymore. And then he said, the words no one expected to hear. Can one of you take him? The question crashed into Maya like a wave. What? Danny turned to her. You treat him like he matters. More than I ever did. If I walk away right now, he won't fight me. He should. But he won't. That's how quiet I've made him. Maya was speechless. Ethan, for once, was too. Then Danny added, You can report me. Say I abandoned him. I won't fight it. Just don't put him in the system. Maya's voice was barely a whisper. You think I can just become his mom? Danny shrugged. Better than me pretending to be his dad. A long silence followed. Ethan's mind raced. He couldn't legally approve a handoff like that. There were procedures, systems. But as CEO, he had connections, legal teams, child advocates, non-profit partners. He could make things happen, quietly, safely. And for once, it wouldn't be about PR or profit. It would be about doing what's right. I'll help, Ethan said firmly. But not like this. No handoffs in parking lots. We do this the right way. You sign temporary custody over, and we get child services involved discreetly. We find a placement. A real one. Danny's eyes dropped. As long as it's not a foster home. Please. I can promise you it won't be a random one. Maya still looked stunned. Danny glanced at the boy, his son, and then at Maya. He needs someone who sees him, like you do. He crouched, in front of the boy, awkwardly, like it wasn't something he did often. I'm sorry, he said. I don't know how to fix it, but maybe walking away is the only thing I can do right. The boy didn't cry. He didn't speak. He just looked at the man with unreadable eyes and held that paper crane a little tighter. Then, as Danny stood and turned to leave, the boy reached out, not to stop him, but to hand him the crane. Danny froze, took it slowly, and nodded. Thanks, kid. And then he walked away. For good. Later that night, after the diner closed, Maya sat in the corner booth with Ethan and the boy. They didn't speak much, but they didn't need to. Ethan had made calls, quiet arrangements, a child psychologist, a social worker he trusted, all off the books, all handled with care. I have a guest house, Ethan finally said. In a quieter part of town. If you want, you both can stay there while we figure things out. Maya looked at the boy. It's up to you. The boy looked back at her. And for the first time, he nodded. It had been a quiet week at Gracie's Grill. The kind of quiet that follows a storm, but not the kind you hear in thunder. Maya wiped down the counter, occasionally glancing toward the window. Liam was back in his usual booth, sketching something again. A dog, maybe, or a wolf. Whatever it was, his hand moved with purpose now. He was still silent, but somehow the silence didn't feel heavy anymore. Then the bell over the door chimed. Maya looked up, and her breath caught. It was him, the man who had left without a word. Liam's father. But he wasn't alone this time. A woman stood beside him, her blazer sharp, her expression unreadable. Maya's instincts kicked in. She moved toward Liam like a shield. What do you want? The woman spoke first. My name is Dana. I'm from Child Advocacy. This man, James, is Liam's father. He's been in therapy, rebuilding his life after severe trauma. He's not here to claim custody. James stepped forward, slowly. I know I don't deserve to ask for anything, he said. But I came back for one reason. He reached into his pocket and gently placed a photograph on the table near Liam's sketchbook. It was old. Faded. A young father holding a laughing baby. That's us, James said softly. Before everything fell apart. before I became someone I didn't recognize. Maya said nothing. Liam hadn't looked up. I'm not asking to be his dad again, James continued. I just want him to know. I came back. I tried. And I'll always be out there waiting, if he ever wants to find me. Liam finally looked up. His eyes locked on the photo, then on his father. Then, slowly, he picked up the picture. Held it. Studied it. And nodded. Just once. James's shoulders crumpled, as if that tiny gesture had lifted a mountain off his chest. Thank you, he whispered, to Liam, to Maya, to the universe. And just like that, he turned and left. No custody, battle, no drama, just closure. Later that evening, as Maya clocked out, Ethan, the quiet stranger who kept showing up, was waiting outside. He handed her an envelope. Inside, a job offer. Regional Director of Training and Community Operations for Wardstone. Hospitality, 6-figure salary, flexible hours, remote friendly. Her name printed at the top in bold. You did all this? She asked, blinking through disbelief. Ethan nodded. You saved that boy's life. And you didn't do it for praise. You did it because it was right. That's the kind of leadership we need across every one of our diners. Maya laughed softly. You're the CEO, aren't you? Ethan smiled. Guilty, but this wasn't about testing you. It was about recognizing something rare. She looked down at the offer again, then toward Liam, still inside the diner, smiling for once as he doodled in peace. And she realized something. She hadn't just been working a job. She'd been building a legacy. The next week, a small plaque appeared on the booth by the window, reserved for Liam, and under it, a single line. Kindness doesn't need words. It just needs someone brave enough to give it. And somewhere out there, someone brave had. If this story moved you, imagine how many more stories are still waiting to be told. Subscribe for more powerful tales of quiet heroes, unexpected twists, and moments that change lives. Your next mystery starts with one click. Subscribe now.